Most gardeners rely on cardboard as a go-to mulch, thinking it suppresses weeds and feeds the soil over time. Here's the problem. Cardboard does neither efficiently. It smothers the soil in a way that limits air exchange. It can harbor mold if wet, and it takes months to break down without providing meaningful nutrients. The consequence: slower plant growth, stressed roots, and patchy beds while you wait for decomposition. I learned this the hard way, watching my raised beds struggle, before discovering an ancient leaf trick that completely changed my garden. Before I go any further, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Serious gardeners will want every one of these hands-on hacks. Stop wasting time with cardboard. Leaves are the overlooked powerhouse. Leaves are not just yard waste, they're nutrient-rich, microbe-friendly, and incredibly versatile as a mulch and soil amendment. Unlike cardboard, leaves retain structure while breaking down, allowing air and water to penetrate. They also attract and support beneficial soil organisms, from bacteria to earthworms. In my experience, layering leaves correctly can outperform cardboard or even expensive commercial mulches, especially in raised beds or backyard gardens. When applied in early spring, this method jump-starts growth, improves root development, and creates soil that feeds plants throughout the season. Not all leaves are equal. Hardwoods like oak and maple are slower to break down, while soft leaves like ash, poplar, or mulberry decompose faster and release nutrients more quickly. I shred leaves using a yard shredder or lawnmower to reduce volume and speed decomposition. For small backyard beds, I use about a 2-inch layer of shredded leaves. For larger raised beds, scale it to 4 inches. If you're using hydroponic systems, leaves aren't applied directly, but composting them first creates a nutrient-rich solution that can be diluted into your hydroponic reservoir. I always mix shredded leaves with a little nitrogen-rich amendment like grass clippings or green weeds to balance the carbon-to-nitrogen ratio. A 30-to-1 ratio of leaves to green material is ideal. It promotes microbial activity without producing excess ammonia that can harm roots. Applying leaves at the wrong time can slow growth instead of accelerating it. I target late winter or early spring before planting to allow leaves to start decomposing while soil warms. If you layer leaves too thickly over emerging seedlings, you risk smothering them. Conversely, applying too thin a layer in cold soil leaves it exposed and slows microbial activation. For raised beds, I incorporate a thin layer of well-aged compost underneath the leaves to kickstart decomposition. Using a quality compost thermometer like the Reotemp 36-inch Backyard Pro with digital composting guide lets me know when soil and leaf layers are at the ideal temperature for microbial activity. The link to the thermometer is in the description if you want to replicate this precisely. So to get started, you want to loosen the soil surface just a bit with a fork or a broad fork. This really helps improve aeration. Then just spread shredded leaves evenly across the bed. For a small backyard garden, about 2 inches of shredded leaves is just right. For bigger beds, I go up to 4 inches, and then I give everything a light watering to settle the material in. Over the next few weeks, you'll notice the leaves breaking down into a loose, crumbly mulch that feeds soil organisms and insulates the roots. I've tried this with tomatoes, peppers, kale, and lettuce, and honestly, the difference is dramatic. Plants grow faster, roots dig deeper, and the soil stays moist without getting compacted. Now, direct application in hydroponics really doesn't work, but you can actually turn leaves into a compost tea or a liquid extract. Just fill a bucket with shredded leaves, cover it with water, add a little molasses or sugar, and let it ferment for 5 to 7 days. After that, strain the liquid and dilute it 1 part tea to 3 parts water before adding it to your nutrient reservoir. This way, you're introducing micronutrients and beneficial microbes into your hydroponic system. I've done side-by-side tests with standard nutrient solutions, and I have to say, leaf-based teas consistently improve root density and plant vigor. The biggest mistake is letting leaves pile up without shredding. They mat down, repel water, and invite mold. Shredding solves this and increases surface area for microbial breakdown. Another mistake is skipping the nitrogen amendment. Leaves are high in carbon, so without greens or grass clippings, decomposition is slow and microbes tie up soil nitrogen, temporarily starving plants. I always balance leaves with a small layer of green material or a liquid nitrogen boost if needed. Finally, avoid applying leaves over plants that are stressed by drought or extreme cold. They insulate, but they don't replace water or warmth. Always monitor soil moisture and temperature with a compost thermometer to ensure optimal growth conditions. Cardboard suppresses weeds temporarily, but doesn't feed the soil, introduces chemicals if printed, and blocks air movement. Commercial mulches can look nice, but often contain bark or wood chips that take months or years to break down and may leach nitrogen while decomposing. Leaves, in contrast, provide immediate carbon, trace minerals, and microbial support. The combination of leaves, compost, and soil monitoring creates an environment where roots expand, microbes thrive, and plants reach their growth potential quickly. Over several seasons, I've seen beds using this method produce up to 40% more yield than beds using cardboard or bark mulch alone. I like to layer leaves with compost grass clippings and sometimes old plant residues. Start with a base of well-aged compost about 1 inch thick, then add 2 to 4 inches of shredded leaves, followed by a thin sprinkle of greens. Water lightly after each layer. This layering approach encourages aerobic microbial activity, prevents matting, and ensures slow, steady nutrient release. If you're using hydroponics, you can replicate the nutrient profile by making a concentrated compost tea from leaves and other organic materials, then feeding it to the plants in small, controlled doses. This method is inexpensive, environmentally friendly, and scalable. Instead of sending leaves to the landfill, you're turning them into a nutrient source that accelerates growth and improves soil health. It reduces dependency on synthetic fertilizers or expensive mulches, keeps soil temperatures stable, and supports a living microbial ecosystem. For serious gardeners, it's one of the most practical, high-impact methods to improve spring growth, raise bed performance, and overall garden health. Putting it all together for explosive garden growth, swapping cardboard for shredded, layered leaves isn't a minor tweak, it's a game changer. The combination of shredded leaves, balanced nitrogen, proper timing, and careful monitoring of soil and mulch temperature creates a thriving environment that leads to faster growth, deeper roots, and healthier plants across all garden types. Using a tool like the Reotemp 36-inch Backyard Pro Compost Thermometer ensures you're applying leaves at the ideal conditions, giving microbes the right environment, and giving your plants a growth advantage that cardboard never delivers. The link is in the description if you want to replicate this precisely in your garden. If you want to see bigger, faster growing plants this season, subscribe to the channel for more tested, practical gardening methods. Share this video with fellow gardeners, friends, or family who are serious about getting the most out of their raised beds, backyard plots, or hydroponic setups. Remember, leaves aren't waste, they're growth power. Treat them that way, and your garden will respond with explosive growth that cardboard can't touch. At the end of the day, ditch the cardboard, gather your leaves, shred them, layer them, and monitor the soil. It's not just better, it's faster, healthier, and more productive. Your plants will thank you, your soil will thank you, and you'll finally see a garden that actually lives up to its potential.